What's up? I'm back. I'm not doing 249 predictions because I already did it. I'm kind of like gonna call this like a fight talk where I just talk about fights, fight news, things that have coming up, just other shit like that. We do have an updated card to 249. Sadly, the card I did predictions for got canceled, and it ended up not happening. So I thought maybe I think we're done here. I thought maybe I just gave up on hope, but Dana White, the GOAT, you know, no, I got nothing bad to say about Dana for like the next year. If this fight card happens, I won't say a bad thing about that man. Um, Even if he's pushing people that don't deserve to get pushed and stuff like that, I won't even bat an eye because he's giving us fights, you know. But he ended up rebooking a card on May 9th in Jacksonville, Florida. It's awesome. I love this card, man. They added some fights. Um, they added Bryce Mitchell, Charles Rosa. What else did they add? They added Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone, um, and Verdun versus Olniak. That's a great fight. Um, I think Carla Esparza versus. I think Carla Esparza and Michelle Waterson was supposed to be on that Overeem, fucking Overeem Walt Harris card. What else did they? Is that it? And no, that's not it. That's not it. And yeah, and they added Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz to that card. Um, I can start off by talking, the new matchups, because I already did predictions for some of these, and they might potentially be adding Alex Hernandez versus Drew Dober. Um, I know I did. Was it Morales? I think it was either added Islam Makhachev that he was supposed to fight Morales. This guy's hey, one thing about fucking Alex Hernandez, he lets his fucking nuts hang, man. The guy he got some fucking confidence in him, you know. Um, but I'm going Drew Dober. Um, he Alex Hernandez looked real. Sometimes a loss can make you a better fighter, and sometimes a loss can almost ruin you. And it kind of took away some of his confidence. Just in the octagon, his swag when he was fighting Francisco Trinaldo. You could argue Francisco won. I'm not arguing that because I'm not the biggest Francisco fan. So I wasn't that kind of heartbroken. Oh, my boy Francis got screwed, but he just did not look good in that fight. He didn't look like a contender that he looked previously before that Donald Cerrone fight. Dober has looked really, really good against strikers. He's had his problems with grapplers. Beneil Dariush locked his ass up. But Dober, I was really impressed in that Natsarov fight. And even though Natsarov made a mistake by throwing that leg kick and just getting caught with that right, man, that kid got some fucking power, bro. His Frank Camacho fight was good. He can fucking put it on you. So unless Hernandez goes for takedowns, Hernandez is a former state champion. And I think in San Antonio, either state champion or he went to state. He finalized or some, a runner up or something like that in wrestling. Now, against Donald Cerrone, man, he got outclassed. But in this game of MMA, a lot of guys are actually really, really good at wrestling. Even if they haven't started, Cerrone's has a lot of experience in MMA, and his grappling is super underrated. His jiu-jitsu game is super underrated, and his wrestling, he doesn't use it a lot, but he uses it. He started using it more at welterweight, but it's just not a part of his game. But in that fight against Hernandez, he's not the kind of guy that will take you down and keep you down. He's looking for a finish, and he took him down and proved a point. I mean, he dominated him in every aspect of the sport, the striking, the grappling, everything. So it's going to be interesting to see if Hernandez can recover from something like that. Um, I still don't think he has, and I think Dober is a really tough matchup for him, man. You know, there's a reason why Dober was gonna fight Diego Ferreira, man. And I think Diego Ferreira would probably have a better chance against Dober than Alex. Alex is really gonna have to pressure him with wrestling and just make it a dogfight. Um, I see Alex getting knocked out, so I'm going with Drew Dober if they make that fight. I don't think it's official yet. It's rumblings. I seen something on Dober's Instagram or something like that. So but let's talk about fights that are officially made, and I'll give you my updates on those. Let's go all the way back to early prelims, and let's talk about um, Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa. Charles Rosa is really, really good. His last fight, he looked really, really good. He fought a really, he was in some trouble in that fight, and he has a really, really good card, and his jiu-jitsu game is pretty, pretty good. And just looking at his history, he's a former chef, and he's a hockey player too. That kind of just found MMA, and Bryce Mitchell is just one of these guys from Arkansas. He's a one real motherfucker right there, man. He is the realest of the real, and their their personality is different in terms of like Charles is just a regular guy, not in terms of the fighting world, but like if you've seen him, you wouldn't think that he's a fighter, or if you heard him talk, you wouldn't think that he's a street fighter or a dirty cage fighter. When I hear Bryce Mitchell talk, man, that dude is a fucking fighter, and I love that they've been having this kind of banter more from Bryce Mitchell than anything than Charles Rosa, but they've been going back and forth, and I think it's super dope. And Bryce is like saying like, you're my opponent, I don't care, I don't like you, you're trying to take food off my table, you picked me because you thought I was weak, and I'm gonna make you pay for it. And and what's it called? He said, I think Charles Rosa was like, one of us is gonna break our limbs, and Bryce responded by like, oh, I'm ready for that, boy. I'm ready for that. But if I was to give a pick, I'd have to go with the guy with the most experience. I have to go with Charles Rosa. He's been in the game for a minute. He's fought top guys. He's had entertaining fights against Shane Burgos, who I have a lot of respect for. I think Shane is a guy you guys should check out. So I'm gonna have to go with Charles Rosa, man. Bryce has been looking good. There's certain areas of his game he needs to fix. But yeah. Next new fight I got is we can talk about Michelle Waterson and Carla Esparza. Both girls have not. I didn't think Carla Esparza beat Alex Guerrero, so I'm gonna say that. But Carla has looked like she's been really working on her striking, and she's always been a decent wrestler, a pretty good wrestler, and the way she transitioned into things. But Michelle Waterson is a girl that has really transformed. She's always been a decent striker in this game, but she really transformed her game when she took her jiu-jitsu to another level, and she just started really, really going for stuff and going for takedowns. She's just like she got outclassed against Joanna. I seen that a mile away. I thought that was a really good warm-up fight for Joanna, but she did some good things in that fight, man. When she was when she was in grappling situations, she really went for the finish. She took her back like twice, or she had her back twice, and she really is really, really going for stuff. So this is a hard fight for me to pick. I'm gonna have to go Michelle Waterson. I just think, man, this can go either way, man. This is a really these girls at the same level, Michelle is like has kind of reached where Carla is at her career, where she had like what two opportunities to get into contendership, and she just messed it up. She had a fight with Rose, and she had a fight with Joanna, but she's looked great, man. Her past few fights, she beat Karolina Kovacevic, who's a former title contender. Um, what's her name? Felisa, I forgot her name. I forgot the white girl's name. Blonde hair. Man, it's not Felisa Spencer. It's something else. I forgot. I forgot her name. Uh, but Michelle's looked really, really like she's really improved. But she's I don't ever see her getting a title shot. Um, it's not over for her. Same thing with Carlos Barza. I just don't see it in their nearest future. But because the division is a competitive division at the end of the day, man. That top five it's ever changing. People can drop like flies, and these I think both of these girls were in the top five. Well, I think Carla was in the top. I don't know about Michelle, but both these girls were fighting for that position, and I'm gonna have to go Michelle Watterson. I think Michelle has the abilities to defend her takedowns and just impose her striking and just impose a decent game plan, impose a jab. You know, it's gonna be a scrap. It's gonna be a good scrap. Next fight is Fabricio Verdum versus Alexei Oleinik. This is Verdum coming back from his last fight. I think Alexander Volkov, right? Volkov. He got destroyed in that fight. But before that, he beat guys like Walt Harris. Who else did he beat? Somebody else. He had a really close fight with Alistair Overeem, bro. That fight was super suspect. I think, was it Tybura? He beat Tybura? But that fight with Overeem was super suspect, man. Yeah, I might have had it almost. Yeah, I think I had Overeem. It's been a minute since I watched that, but I felt like he got robbed. Um, Verdum was working his way up to get a rematch with Stipe, and he fought Volkov and got destroyed. I mean, dismantled. Like, Stipe, he can say I got caught with a shot. That, you got beat, bro. There ain't nothing about it. Like, you just lost. And he lost. Oleinik had a decent run, I know he lost to Curtis Blaze, but I forgot, who did he catch with the Ezekiel choke? He caught someone with Ezekiel choke, and then he had a fight night main event with Mark Hunt, and he got a win over there. So he was on a good two fight or three fight win streak. Um, and then he fought Alistair Overeem and got kneed in the fucking face. And then he fights Walt Harris, and Walt Harris puts on a performance of a lifetime and knocks him out. And then he fights Maurice Green, and he looked pretty good. He looked really, really decent. Um, it was, it was one of those things. Is like, it was Maurice Green did pretty good actually, surprisingly, but he ended up choking him out. Oleinik is. He's good, but he's just a grappler at the end of the day. And Verdum is more than just a grappler. He's a complete mixed martial artist, and I just think um, Verdum can make this as competitive as he wants to. That's how I'm gonna say the fight. I'm not. I don't. The only way I can see this going Oleinik's way is if they go to the round and something, and just Oleinik ends up getting the better of Verdum. But I don't even think he can do that to him. But I can see that happening more than him beating uh, or Oleinik knocking him out. He has power because he's a heavyweight, but I think Verdum, beats this guy handily, and I think he puts it on him. Next fight. This one's to the heart, man. Um, Donald Cerrone versus Anthony Pettis. They had a fight before, and Pettis won that fight. It was a second round TKO. Pettis' last fight was against Diego Ferreira. Both, I think, on the same card. And Cerrone's fight was against Connor. I think most of y'all know I picked Cerrone to win that fight. And as a fan of Cerrone, we've been here before, man. like it wasn't too long ago. He was losing left and right. He was losing Jorge Masvidal, Robbie Lawler, Darren Till. He was getting an ass beating, and then he gets one win, and then he loses to Leon Edwards. I think it was Yancy Medeiros he beat, and then Leon Edwards. Then he goes on a win streak. and he went on a win streak of Mike Perry, Hernandez, and Ali Quinta, which was decent, and then fights Tony, gets pieced up pretty good, and then fights Gaethje, gets knocked out, and then fights Connor, and he got handled. Pettis, even though he's lost, he hasn't looked that bad. Against Nate, people might call Pettis a quitter, and he does terrible against pressure. I think that is true. He's not a pressure fighter, but with space, he can win his fights. You can see how dangerous the guy is. He knocked fucking Wonder Boy the fuck out, man. Knocked him the fuck out. Was it Jim Miller? Yeah, he put it on Jim Miller. Don't forget, fucking what's his name? Michael Chiesa submitted Michael Chiesa. Who else did he beat? Did he beat someone before that? I'm trying to think. He put it on Michael, man. Michael was talking that shit too. I'm trying to think. I think, was it Dustin? He fought Dustin before that, I think. And then Dustin fucked him up. But, the guy... Pettis he's still, he can still compete. He dropped Tony. He can still compete with these guys. Diego Ferreira, he didn't look that bad until he got taken down and submitted. My point is, Pettis hasn't looked bad in his last few fights. And Cerrone, for some reason, has just not looked the same since the Ali Quinta fight, man. I don't know what it is. Since that Tony Ferguson fight, he has just been getting picked apart. And it's just sad to see. But he's my boy. And, I don't turn my tail on my boys. I don't ever act like, I don't forget about him. So, for this fight, man, he's super motivated. Usually, I never go with the guy that first hasn't been looking good, and had lost to the guy that he's fighting before. Usually rematches, they end up, going the same. There's a reason why the guy won the first time. Why not the second time, But I'm going Cerrone. I think Cerrone is gonna beat Pettis. I don't know how. If you think I'm crazy, I'm not gonna argue with you. But I think I'm gonna go Cerrone. I'm gonna go Cerrone. That's my boy, and I think he's gonna put it on Pettis, man. He's gonna put it on him. Next fight that got added, I think it's probably the most underrated fight on, or I guess people have criticized this matchup, and I understand it. Henry Cejudo should be fighting people like Aljamain. I think Aljamain Sterling's on the first. He's beating people like Jimmy Rivera, Cody Sandman, Pedro Munoz. I feel like that's a good enough 3-fight win streak to get a title shot. I like Aljamain Sterling a lot. I like the way he fucking fights. I like his attitude. I like his mindset to fighting. Peter Yan's another one. I think Uriah Faber, Jimmy Rivera. Who was the other guy? I think John Dodson. Yeah, he beat John Dodson. Fucked him up, man. And then you got Corey Sandhagen. I'm not the biggest guy. I don't think Corey Sandhagen is in the top 5, but he's one fight away from a title shot, I feel like. And John Lineker, I thought, beat him. But that is what it is. Henry Cejudo's in a very hectic bantamweight division. There's a lot of good guys. You still got Cody in there, and you got Cruz in there. You got, Jimmy Rivera might be looked at like an afterthought now, but he was at one point a top 5 guy. He was gunning for a title shot. You got Marlon in there. You got a lot of good guys in that division. But, the problem is, what Cejudo is, he wants to make some fucking money. And I get it from his perspective. He had a crazy year. He beats DJ fights TJ Dillashaw, and fights the number one contender, Marlon Moraes. He did fight Marlon, and he fucking put it on him. All right, a lot of people want to hate on Cejudo, and I get it because he's cringy, but like he put it on y'all, and a lot of people picked Marlon, and he destroyed Marlon, bro. He broke him. Bro, Marlon hasn't been the same since that Cejudo fight. Cejudo broke him, and he lost, and Aldo beat him too. But this fight, I was okay with the Aldo fight because I felt like Aldo beat Marlon, so I didn't have a problem with that. This one I have a problem with is because Cruz hasn't fought in 2 years. Yes, his last fight was against Cody Garbrandt, and he lost the belt. Sometimes champions get immediate rematches. Cody got it, but this is just I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this. But I love the fight though, man. I love the underlying story. Like Dominick Cruz cut this amazing promo on Cejudo about, you were groomed for this moment. I wasn't. Your whole identity is that gold medal, the championship. I'm not, and I'm gonna take it from you because I like to beat guys that think or that were groomed for this moment. I was never groomed for that. And stuff that on the lines of what he was trying to say, and I love that, man. He comes at he wasn't no great wrestler, and Uriah Faber and T.J. Dillashaw had better wrestling accolades than him, and he took them down. I don't even think T.J. ever took Dominick Cruz down, and I'm pretty sure Uriah Faber never took down Cruz, so. I love his, I love his mindset. I love how he doesn't believe ring rust is a thing. I love how he just had that amazing performance against T.J. Dillashaw, and he put it all on the line, man, against that guy. And I love how he ended that trilogy with Uriah Faber. But man, injuries catch up to you, and Dominick Cruz is my boy. Don't get it twisted. I just don't think he should have got one fight in to prove that he should be there. Like, the Mizugaki fight. But this fight with Cejudo, man, it is a competitive fight. This is a grind. This is going to be a grind fight to see who wants it more. It's the closest thing to Henry's Joseph Benavidez fight that anyone can replicate. But if I was to go with a pick, I know I just kind of trashed on Cruz, but I have to go fucking Dominick Cruz, man. I love Henry Cejudo. I fucking love him, but Dominick Cruz is in my opinion the greatest bantamweight of all time, and accomplished so much, bro. Man, let me turn off my phone. But Henry Cejudo is fighting for that. I don't know where to put Cejudo, but he's so great. What he's doing right now is just it's spectacular, but and has just a tremendous resume. But I think Cruz is gonna beat him. I really do, man. I think Cruz is gonna beat him. So I will give you guys a rundown of my former picks. I'm sticking with these. I remember these. I'm going Justin Gaethje in the main event. I'm going Dominick Cruz. I'm going Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I'm going Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. I'm going Greg Hardy versus De Castro. I'm going Cerrone versus Pettis. I'm going Verdun versus Olnick. I'm going Michelle Waterson versus Carla Esparza. I'm going Uriah Hall versus Jocko. I'm pretty sure I picked Uriah Hall. I'm going Nico Price versus Vicente Luque. Charles Rosa versus Bryce Mitchell. I'm going Charles Rosa. And I'm going Ryan Spahn. I don't think I even said it, but I'm going Ryan Spahn versus Sam Alvey. I think for obvious reasons. But yeah, it's I wouldn't say this is my predictions. I think this is just me kind of like a part 2 of my 249 predictions I did before. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy me talking about the fights. I love fighting, man. I think it's the best sport to watch. I do watch other sports like basketball and other stuff, but there's nothing like fighting, man. There's nothing like fighting. But all right, see y'all, man.